welcome to another episode of By the Numbers. I'm Michelle Fleming.
And I'm Renee Smith. And today it looks like we're going to be measuring.
Yes, we got all kinds of things around here that we can measure, and I see you got the ruler.
I have the regular ruler
Okay.
that most people will have in their house, and so they can use this to help their children work on a skill that's really hard for them. First of all, we've discovered, and it's a skill that most primary age and elementary school students have a lot of trouble with, and so
it's amazing that the number one issues, people say, why can't kids just know how to read a ruler?
And I really think it's because we don't have a lot of experience with it. Kids don't have to learn to sew like they used to, and all of those kinds of skills, working outside.
So, what's that?
And also they don't work outside with Dad and use a tape measure.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of reasons why kids aren't as good at it as they could be.
They just don't have that background knowledge and experience
Absolutely.
there. So give that to your kids. It's a gift.
It is. And it's so simple because they can work with common things that they find in their home. I could pull out a CD case. We have some colored pencils here. We have just some various
a
box,
pen,
any kind of thing you find at home that they can practice measurement with.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are we going to practice with first?
Well, you choose.
Okay. Let's do the CD case because it looks kind of interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if they just want to make sure that they help their child learn to line up the CD case on the actually not the edge of the ruler here, it doesn't look like. It looks like it's a little bit off because the mark's a little bit further in for where they would begin. And then learn to read that where it ends, in this particular case, it looks like it's about 5.5 inches long. Now, it's going to be more difficult with a standard ruler like this for little kids because of all the markings.
All the markings, and and it could just be they might look at it as, well, it's close. It's more than 5.
It's a little more than 5 if they don't know the fractional parts of the ruler yet.
And not just doing inches, but eventually in schools, kids have to understand the whole centimeters, the whole metric system that we were told how many moons ago that we were going to need to know. But they are tested in their metric system. And so now if I look at it this way, we're about at 14 centimeters.
And it's just nice for kids to understand that because the centimeter is smaller, it's going to take more of them. But obviously this case didn't change sizes, and so around 5.5 inches is almost the same as 14 centimeters. So they start to see that representation as well.
So once children have had lots and lots of opportunity of measuring with the ruler, or even using color tiles, which are an inch wide, but starting to measure with objects, it's really important then that we bump them up a little bit. And we're going to talk about other tools you can measure with and that don't look quite as standard as what we're talking here.
Okay.
But most people do have tape measures. And I want to share with you these tape measures I found. They're like strips of tape measures.
Somebody got scissor happy, didn't they?
Somebody got scissor happy and cut these tape measures up. And that's something we'd recommend you do, especially as they've advanced from this concept into understanding that if we're looking at an inch, which would be from, let's say from here to here, it's that distance of that inch, that any of these could still be used to measure. And
Absolutely.
it's a much more advanced
It
scale.
doesn't matter whether I'm starting with the 0 end point and here's my 1 inch, or whether I'm starting with the 41 and going to the 42 for my 1 inch segment. So they're exactly the same distance.
Let's go back to that case that we were working with.
Okay.
And let's use that tape measure because I like the bigger numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
So if I start, let's say I'm going to line it up
At
on
43.
the end at the 43 mark. If I remember correctly, that was around 5.5 inches a while ago. So it's still, the cases obviously didn't change size or
I'm
shape.
just going to write down here 43 on this side.
Okay.
So we remember we're at 43.
So if I end up here at 48.5, this is still going to be 5.5 inches because here's an inch, here's 2 inches, here's 3, 4, 5.5. And what I just actually modeled is to show that this is an elapsed distance. And what we have found with students is that a lot of students, even if they know that it's 5.5 by using the standard ruler, they will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5, and then not understand why it's 6.5 now instead of 5.5. And so they have to start to understand the concept. Can I borrow your pen,
You sure
please?
can.
That this is an elapsed distance, that they don't make the count 1 until they've gone an inch. And that's where the misconception comes in for students. So that's the really big part of measurement that they need to understand.
That it's the concept of the inch. And to use these, take your tape measures and cut them up. That's a way to advance it. So with that, thank you for joining us in another episode of By the Numbers. I'm Michelle Fleming.
And I'm Renee Smith.